attend the basketball game, but they raised almost $6,000 for the American Heart Association, which was awesome, and had a blast. And everybody is committed to doing it again for next year, with some alterations to participants. Because I don't know, I feel like maybe the officers might have gotten smoked, from what I hear. So they need to go to basketball training. Budget review at the Municipal Alliance. Everything is essentially flat from last year. Some old business as far as the teen mental health first aid program. There's some programs and training going on at PHS that goes through April. Some new business. Princeton Princeton Healthcare System is doing the community wellness retreat on May 18th at the Plainsboro Preserve. There's a nutrition for mental health program at the library coming up, and some other programs like the hike, some yoga events, etc. National Night Out is in its planning phases. As long as the weather holds up this year, we will be having that again. Same day, again, this is my week of the month. HPC had a meeting. I see our friends in the audience. Hi, everybody. There were a couple of applications. Had some discussion about the survey, which will be included in the mayor's update. The CLG grant survey project is ongoing with a couple of properties, the 3739 Station Road, as well as the farmland properties. That's ongoing. I know there's the presentation tonight, so I won't steal everybody's thunder for some of the other conversations that we had. And more conversation about the Camden Amboy Train Depot as well. Waiting for plans and environmental impact for the redevelopment of that. Additionally, on the 19th was the school board meeting. They had their budget presentation, similar to ours last meeting as well. They had a clean audit, a under cap increase of, I believe, 1.95% with the 2% cap. But the tax for the school is flat. So that means both the school and the township will have flat taxes this year, which is very exciting. And that's inclusive of the school development projects, the referendum projects. So very, we'll call it a fiscally responsible year for sure for everybody. And I think that's it for me for today.
I did not get a chance to click on the video that they circulated of the progress of the school. Is there any highlights on that, or?
They're on track for
Yeah.
26. But I mean, anybody who walks past the development, it looks amazing and very impressive. But it's a lot of steel right now and not a whole lot of walls.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're making good progress.
Great.
Any questions, guys?
Yeah.
All right, thanks.
You can go.
Yeah, okay. Yes, I had I had one meeting. The Shade Tree meeting was canceled April 3rd and rescheduled for Thursday, April 10th at 10 a.m. Then that was that one. Then I had an environmental commission meeting March 17th. So wait a minute. Okay, hang on. Okay, so the April 3rd Shade Tree meeting is now rescheduled for April 10th. So that didn't happen yet. We're in March still. On March 17th, I had the environmental commission meeting, and they're humming along nicely. They're doing some of their old business. The community wildlife habitat certification, people are signing up. The outdoor classroom initiative, led by Delpha George. She's looking, she's been starting with the school. They cleaned out some beds, and they're going to be planting natives, which is really great. And she's going to be writing some grants to try and obtain some money to continue with that initiative. Stream cleanup is coming in April, and you've been doing a great job in putting that in the mayor's update. and still applying for that community energy plan. I can get into the portal, but I can't get the time to do it. So hopefully next couple days. Something that I just landed literally on our desk was really exciting. The New Jersey Healthy Town to Watch. We were a healthy town up and coming, right? Prior. So now we're doing the things necessary to now be a healthy town to watch. And we just got this plaque, which we will put over there with our other plaques. And I want to thank Iman, who did all of the work in putting in all the certification information. And I want to thank the Mayor's Wellness Group, which is Iman, Joanne, Kath,
Yourself
me,
and Maureen.
Maureen
and
Rafferty,
Laura.
and Laura Collins Zerflu. It's a team effort, and we're doing the best we can and getting the word out that we are a healthy town and working towards even greater things. But look at also what we get. Is this the coolest?
I see this at the Memorial Day parade coming.
Yeah. So, anyway, so we do, you want to say some of the things that helped us get the certificate? No, you say, please. You're the one that actually filled out that application.
Thank you. So the thing that I believe tipped us over to the Silver Award this year is really the installation of the inclusive park. And some of our senior activities, the fact that we took on as sort of a senior director. And I'm curious to see how many more points we needed to make the gold award, the healthy town. So well done. This is really just a collaborative township effort for sure.
Yeah, thank you, Iman. And thanks for, the paperwork too is really important, gathering all the information. And that takes a lot of time and effort. That was something part of a Sustainable Jersey. That's what's so wonderful about being part of Sustainable Jersey and a silver, silver level. So of course, there's always gold and something else. But, they do best practices for towns. And this was one of the initiatives and one of the action items that we started several years ago. So there's always some action items that are great to do. I forgot to mention one of the things at the EC meeting that I did mention to the Environmental Commission. There's training, and I'm really encouraging the Environmental Commission to become trained for fundamentals for effective Environmental Commission. There's stormwater management, local land use, communication, and engagement. There's a lot more that we can do to get the word out that our environment. Our local environment is important for our greater watershed, et cetera, and how we interact with other towns. So that's that. And then the rain garden was cleared by DPW, and we're going to continue working on that. There is a rain garden. Since there's an audience, this is great. The rain garden is in Village Park, and when it starts going, you get to see Joe Pyeweed, you get to see Mountain, Mint. There's a lot of cool stuff that eventually pops. Right now, it's looking a little, wintry. Anyway, so that's exciting, and that's it.
I have a question
Question.
for you.
Yes.
The initiative last year with the backyard gardens, is that still ongoing?
Yes. Yes.
Perfect.
Yes. That's the World Wildlife Foundation, where we're encouraging individual homes to pop on that website and get their plaques so that we can get one certified as a whole town. And that's it.
I wanted to mention that I left my leaves this fall.
Hey!
I thought it was important. Not on my
There.
grass, but I left my leaves in all the other areas. Yes.
And I just saw a woolly caterpillar popping up. So those are those little fuzzy.
I've only
little
seen
teddy bear
wasps and a rare crocus to date. So.
Okay. Enjoy the spring. It is here. Starting, the crocus, daffodils, et cetera, and forsythia. Okay.
That's right. Enjoy the spring. All right. Thank you. The Affordable Housing Subcommittee had a meeting on March 18th. We discussed potential locations for the projects and assessed pros and cons of all these locations. It is not an easy job. And we are diligently working towards a June deadline. The senior subcommittee also met March 20th to assess the senior center. We did a walkthrough of the senior center and we discussed potential renovations and upgrades as funds will permit. I think it was more of just trying to sit in that space and absorb what could be done with it, or in it, I should say. The library board met, and if you haven't been to the library yet, I'm very happy to announce and let you all know that the fireplace has been completed. It has got a beautiful stone facade, and it looks like it was there all along. It's amazing. I think the work was done within a week or less than a week, so it was very efficient. And they implemented long-term upgrades that will provide long-term fixes. So that was nice to see. They are currently continuing to chase after their solar panels. There's a little bit of a stall in the project, and they're working with the township to move things along. They have, just like Dr. Rogers mentioned, they also work through sustainability and Sustainable Jersey, and they have, as part of their sustainable efforts, they are moving in the direction of, reducing paper waste and using double-sided photocopies, et cetera. So it's nice to see that the initiatives that are being implemented all around the town to salute our sustainability. So that's awesome. And they just had some audio issues in the meeting room, and that was recently fixed. And they are looking to sort of readdress their makerspace a little bit. It's a little bit underutilized at this point. The mayor's wellness we just talked about. I attended a traffic symposium with Middlesex County Wednesday, March 19th. They held, this was their annual traffic symposium, and they did something very different this year. They had a keynote speaker, but then they created an opportunity for all the towns to speak with each other, amongst each other. So it was really, really novel, and I found so much benefit from this. So the theme was dangerous driving, accidents, and fatalities, and various traffic calming measures were mentioned during the keynote speaker's address. And I wanted to share with you just a few statistics, nothing too heavy, but looking at different countries, Finland makes drivers feel very uncomfortable speeding on a road. And they do that by making a road narrower and not making it very bright necessarily at night. So you make people uncomfortable, so they drive slower. Now, their accident rate went down 30% in the same time that the accident rate in the United States went up 29%. And they mentioned another one, a town in northern New Jersey, Hoboken, has had no deaths in 8 years. And it's reduced its traffic incidents by 30% by adopting kind of similar situations. They do a lot of striping to make roads look, narrower, and they have a lot of share the road initiatives. So kind of cool. So on January 13th, Governor Murphy signed a bill establishing the Target Zero Commission, working towards a statewide goal of eliminating all traffic deaths and serious injuries by 2040. The first step for the commission will be to develop a statewide action plan by the end of 2025. And a key component of that plan, their mandate is to create a collaboration between state agencies, law enforcement, advocates, and local jurisdictions. So that was where that piece with the towns speaking amongst each other was really beneficial. You have one road that hits, 5 different towns. What are you seeing in your town? So that piece I felt was something we can do. Oftentimes we sit and we hear the problems. We're like, what can we do? This is something we can do. So it's data driven, and I was really excited to attend that. So if I could share with you all just 3 bits of community news. The craft show, I attend the 27th annual craft show, and I volunteered. I think you may have volunteered also. The day you volunteered was Saturday, and that was like go, 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 excitement. I volunteered Sunday. I think I checked 1 person in at the door that I was at.
Wow.
So in almost 3 hours, it was not very exciting. I was at the door, by the new playground. So, but they did say that Saturday was a good day. I'm waiting to hear. It'd be nice to hear. I don't know who will hear. Maybe you will hear before we do about the craft show, how it did through the school. Maybe no. Well, if anybody hears, I think it'd be nice to share, just to know how well they did on that day. I attended also the Court of Honor at the Scouts, and it was absolutely amazing. Congratulations to our latest Cranbury youths to earn their Eagle Scout ranking, Ethan Toro and Stephen Sensi. Ethan, if you remember, these are projects that came before us last year. So Ethan Toro's project, he produced a very useful online website that connects youth seeking jobs or internships with local businesses looking to hire, and it's currently linked through the library website. And Stephen Sensi's project with the spotted lanternfly fly traps. So he built 80 traps, just to recap. He placed them through Unami Woods in the area behind the firehouse. And through the spring and summer of 2024, he captured over 3,000 nymphs. So kudos to both of them. It was just a beautiful event and the first time that I could attend that event. And I wanted to give another shout out to a Cranbury 8th grader, Shivani Mukamala. She and her team of 15 just won the first Tech Challenge state level robotics competition. We have some very smart kids amongst us, guys. 9,000 teams participated worldwide, and only 2% are invited to the World Championship, and theirs is one of them. So kudos to them. I'm really proud of them. I met them first through the Chinmaya Mission last year when the Chinmaya Mission was doing their 10th anniversary celebration here in Cranbury, off of Cranbury Neck Road. And it was just nice to meet these young, hopeful children and to see them come so far. So congratulations to them, and I'll share a little bit more about them on my Facebook. But yeah, that's it for me. Any questions?
That's a lot. Any questions?
Yeah, I'm surprised. I was wondering what door you were at the crafts fair.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was on lunch. I got to ask all the crafters if they needed lunch or
You made everybody happy.
not. And it was a very well attended Saturday, so I hope it worked well for them. But thank you for all that news.
I'm just going to cover a couple things that'll be in the mayor's update tomorrow. I just want to remind people, I was the same thing again, April 12th, Cranberry stream cleanup. You can still volunteer, I believe, to sign up through Watershed. And then our spring, we're doing the townwide yard sale, which is through the CBA, and that's going to be on the 26th of April with a rain date of the 27th. And as tradition, the following weekend, which is going to be May 3rd and 4th, is when we do our spring cleanup. That there's extended hours at our public works lot where people can drop larger home goods off. And there's a whole list of things that you can drop off, and more importantly, things you can't drop off, so that you're not surprised when you finally make it over there. The kindergarten registration is open at the Cranbury School, so you can access that registration online. A student must be 5 years old by October 1st, 2025, and also registration at cranburyschool.org. As Aman mentioned, we did have our senior subcommittee. I just wanted to remind everybody that while that senior center is, the parking lot's actively being worked on, all senior programming will still take place at the library. And on April 25th, I thought it was a really important topic that they have scheduled, but Joe Schneider from SMP is going to be there to help educate seniors on the epidemic problem of technology fraud. So I think this is a really good program, and I don't think you need to be a senior to benefit from it. I think anybody could benefit from it, but it's the types of fraud, how to identify them, and most importantly, how to avoid them. So that's going to be on April 25th, which is the next senior lunch. And then we go into one lunch a month, I believe, through the summer months is how we're going to work on that. And then I have a whole blurb stealing the thunder. I won't say any of these statistics about the HPC because they're going to share them with us, but that will be that. And then the Cranbury Museum has a new exhibit. Here are voices sharing Cranbury stories. Learn about some past Cranbury families. And this is a result of the Black History Project at the Elizabeth Wagner History Center. This exhibit features profiles of 7 Cranberrians. And so as a reminder, the Cranbury Museum is open on Sundays from 1 to 4. And then lastly, I wanted to address some feedback that I have gotten personally and that this township committee has on public comment. Again, we mentioned every time public comment comes up that it's not a Q&A period. It's part of Robert's Rules of Order that from New York City, believe it or not, to the Cranbury Board of Education follows the same protocol in public comment. Having said that, the public has the benefit of getting our agenda before a township committee meeting. So I would encourage anybody in the public who wants to make a public comment, feel free to shoot an email about what the topic is or what you want to come and address us with. If we have some time to prepare, there's a good chance, if we're permitted and it's a public topic, that we may be better prepared to address and answer your question in real time here. And that's something that if we can do it, we would do it. So I just want to throw that out there. I'm always happy to meet, set up a call to meet with anybody if they want to have a communication and keep that open. So I just wanted to reiterate that. And that's all I had. And back to our agenda. Okay, so we've got us. And so now I'd love to invite the Historic Preservation.
Hang on, Lisa,
Okay,
when is the next senior lunch?
Next senior lunch is April 25th.
I
No?
think there's one in March.
I think there's one Friday.
Oh, Friday.
Yeah,
Oh, Friday. I'm
March,
sorry.
28th.
I am already into April. So
I
I'm
know.
with
Well,
you.
I thought it was April.
Yeah, I'm sorry. This Friday.
Okay.
Yes, sorry.
Okay,
Yep.
March 28th.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So I'd love now if we can move on. If the Historic Preservation would like to join us, and I think they're going to provide an overview of their 2024 annual report.
Do you need us to sign in here? Okay, all right, great. So I'm Jennifer Setmeyer.
I'm Susan Ryan.
I'm the 2024 HPC Chair, and Sue is the Vice Chair. So we are here today to share with you our 2024 accomplishments, as well as our plans for 2025. So this annual report, we're also planning on posting on our website. In the area of membership, we had 2 new members joining HPC. We have Brendan Houle, who's been appointed Class B position, and Amy Villarini, who was appointed second alternate Class C position. Both of them have made an amazing contribution already, and all the other members of HPC remained in their positions in 2024. I was elected chairperson, Sue vice chair, and the liaison last year was Mayor Neeram for HPC. This year will be Mr. Christopher. In 2024, we had 12 meetings. We reviewed a total of 38 certificate of approval applications within the historic district and buffer area. And we also had 1 concept review. One comment is that, we love concept reviews. We did a communication about it and encourage all members of the public, if they're thinking about doing a project, to come forward to us beforehand for a concept review. We generated 7 new homeowner letters to folks who had moved into the historic district or buffer area. These letters advise the new homeowners about the property, that it's in the historic district or buffer area, and that any exterior work requires a COE from our committee. The HPC members also started tracking our volunteer hours last year, and we had a whopping 473 collective volunteer hours in 2024. So this is all above and beyond our meetings. So it's a great context to see that we're not just in our meetings once a month, we're actually doing a lot of work outside of our meetings. As far as training, we are regularly, continually learning, and we have an attachment to our report with all of our training. Okay, so our accomplishments for 2024, we had a lot. For the first one, it's sort of old news by now, but we completed the street signage project with the street signs and wayfinders that got installed and painted, and the weather poles were replaced, and we really were grateful for DPW for helping with this initiative. We also had a presentation at the library where we shared all of the results of our phase 3 intensive level surveys. It was funded by our CLG grant, and it documented a bunch of different properties that were making our Cranbury Historic Village District more continuous. And we had this in January, and we also posted the webinar to our website. So folks who weren't able to attend, even today, could go onto our website and see that presentation. We donated 1 book to the public library. We have a very nice shelf at the library that includes not only history about Cranbury, but also a lot of great tools for homeowners on how to maintain and restore historic homes. So the book we donated was called The Illustrated Dictionary of Historic Architecture by Cyril M. Harris. We also launched the interactive map, which is on our website, a virtual map of the district with all of our inventoried properties with photos and lots of great information. We had our first table at Cranbury Day, and it was, I think, a pretty great success. We had a lot of great visitors, people who not always were familiar with what HPC was all about, a lot of children as well. So we started educating them early about history. We had a nice fun game and prizes. And then the other thing that we did as part of our outreach was we did a series of flyers, not only in the town kiosk, but also in the mayor's email, where we talked about, the concept reviews, the interactive map, the street signs, the webinar, the library. We're actually getting ready to launch a new one because we're seeking 2 student volunteers to be liaisons to our committee, so we can get some additional feedback and support from aspiring history buffs and people who are interested in architecture. We had a very exciting public hearing last year on the designation of the Cranbury Historic Village District properties and the removal of the buffer zone. We also made 2 presentations to the planning board on this topic, and we incorporated everyone's feedback, so it was very successful. We look forward to continuing this on this year. We developed an inventory of historic sites, identified in the master plan that are outside of our historic district. This was an initiative we did several years ago, and we revisited the list and had to practically redo it. Unfortunately, a number of properties had been demolished, and so we took a brand new inventory, and we appreciate the folks in the town who helped us identify lists and looked at tax lots and dates and stuff like that. We also had a joint effort with other township entities on the planning of Revolution, New Jersey. We look forward to working that again this year. And we provided feedback to the township committee on the gateway signage locations, and we were super excited to see them installed, and especially the one that was over by the elms. They look wonderful. So kudos to township committee. Our goals for 2025, we have 6 goals. So we're a very ambitious group. We really want to finish with the designation of the Cranbury Village for a more continuous historic district, removing that buffer area around the historic district. We're getting ready to go back to the planning board again, and then to you as well, so we can finish the amendment and as well as draft the ordinance. We are also continuing to work on obtaining the certificate of eligibility for the Cranbury Station Hamlet, and working on a preparation of a National Register nomination form. So we're working to try to submit that this year. We're also going to plan to notify the owners who are outside the historic village district about the potential for designating their sites outside of the district. As we've identified them, a number of structures that are historic, a lot of which are agricultural in nature. We are also going to continue working with Revolution, New Jersey, working with all the other township entities, continuing our public outreach, including doing Cranbury Day again this year. And we're also going to continue to work with the owner of the Camden Amboy Train Depot, located at 24 Cranbury Station Road, to preserve the depot as the site development continues. We appreciate the support of Township Committee and continue to serve Cranbury in accordance with Township Code Chapters 21 and 93. Thank you.
Yeah, it was an absolute pleasure to liaison with HBC the last 2 years. I really enjoyed my time there, and to witness the impact that you have on the community. I think the concept review, more than anything else, is I've continued to say that it wasn't just a meeting to get an application approved. I never felt that way, and I believe the residents that were there in those applications felt that too. There were helpful hints and things that they didn't even consider to doing, and that you guys always provided feedback unsolicited to them, which was terrific. And you could see the difference that it made. Not only did I think you saved them time, but I think you probably saved them some horrific home improvement projects, and just by providing some insight to it. So the volunteer hours is what blew me away when we received this packet ahead of time. It's just amazing how much you do outside of that 1 to 2 hours once a month. And I'm also glad to see that you guys were able to do monthly meetings and that they didn't impede your work at all, obviously, from the accomplishments that you had. I know that was a big decision to go from 2 a month to 1 a month, but it seems like you got it all done and you were really efficient. So I just want to thank you and all the members of the HPC and for everything you did. It's amazing. So
Thank you.
thank you. Anyone else have anything to add?
Thank you. You make it look easy, but.
I just want to thank you for the help on the gateway signs too. That's part of our bike network plan that we are chipping away at, and it's going to be, those are the low hanging fruit, believe it or not. Now there's some bigger projects, but hopefully we'll start those at some point. I also just want to, the interactive map that's on your web. I'm sorry, I'm going to have to look at that because we have an interactive business and attraction map on the website too. So I'm curious what yours, I'm sorry I haven't gone to it yet, and I will now that you have, we need to get that out there more so that people can see that. I really appreciate that. I had started when I was chair of the Environmental Commission as student liaison position, and it's absolutely fantastic to have that input and the excitement that comes with the next generation. So I'm really glad that you're going to be working on that too. So
Yeah, we have applications due by June 1, so the kids should have plenty of time to apply. And yeah, we're going to post information about what we're looking for and how to apply.
So are they high school students or
2 high school students?
2 high school students? And are you going to be going do you know any what subject would be a good place to
Architecture and history,
Okay,
either both or one or the other.
that's terrific. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Great, thank you.
Do we have any follow-up items? No?
I don't have any.
Okay. Same status of our vacancies right now, but I want to go through them again and again. We have a broader audience tonight, so spread the word if anyone has time on their hands and would like to volunteer. The Environmental Commission is a full membership, first and second alternate. I do that every time. Alternate. The Municipal Alliance as a second alternate, and Shade Tree has a full membership. And those are the same as we did. We'll continue to publish them in the mayor's update to amplify those vacancies. We have no first readings this evening. We do have a second reading.
And the title for our ordinance that is on tonight for second reading is Cranbury Township Ordinance Number 03-25-04, bond ordinance providing for various capital improvements of the Township of Cranbury in the County of Middlesex, appropriating $2,150,950, therefore funding $107,548, and authorizing the issuance of $2,043,402 bonds or notes of the Township to finance part of the cost thereof. And this is up for adoption and comment.
Okay, so I need a motion.
We do
No, that will be it.
do the motion, the second, then
I need a
discussion.
Move
second.
first. I'll move.
Thank you.
Okay, then I'll open it. And is there any public comment specific to Cranbury Ordinance 325-04? You did. Yeah, I heard you. I'm sorry.
I wasn't sure.
Yep. And then is there any public comment specifically on this ordinance? Seeing none, is there any township committee comment on this ordinance? Okay, then we'll move to roll call.
Okay, Mr. Christopher,
Yes.
Mrs. Elbadawi,
Yes.
Dr. Rogers.
Yes.
Mr. Scott is absent. Mayor Knierim.
Yes.
That is unanimous. Thank you.
Okay. Is there a motion or is there any consent resolution anyone would like to be pulled out from A through D?
I'd like to move all resolutions A through D.
Second.
Thank you.
We'll move on to roll call. Mr. Christopher,
Yes.
Mrs. Elbadawi,
Yes.
Dr. Rogers.
Yes.
Mr. Scott is absent, and Mayor Knierim.
Yes.
Again, unanimous. Thank you.
Okay, now we'll move on to our public comment. A reminder, that public comment is our time to listen to you and your thoughts as the residents of our community. If we can address anything spoken about tonight, we will do that. If not, you have our commitment that we will follow up and do our best to come back to your public comment at another meeting or at another time. And I continue to encourage people, if they would like to talk directly to me or set up a meeting to chat on any topic, please do so. And with that, is there any public comment this evening? Mark? Oh, as a reminder, you have 3 minutes. And if you could please sign in and state your name.
Thank you.
That's the boards.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for allowing me to comment. This is Mark Burkowski on North Main Street. I'm representing the Cranbury Historical and Preservation Society. In October of last year, we appeared before the Township Committee to present our concern about the potential demolition or demolition by neglect of the historic house located on Plainsboro Road, commonly called the Dancer House. We had no response. We again appeared at the March 10th meeting with the same request. At that meeting, wherein the Helene Cody Foundation, which is not a township entity, discussed with the Township Committee the installation of a memorial and heritage park, I asked what the appropriate avenue would be to discuss the preservation of the Dancer House. I was told that a Township Committee work session is the approach that the society should use to discuss our concerns. Last week, I asked the Township that the society be put on the agenda for tonight's meeting for discussion, but was told that since the society was not a Township entity, that was not possible. I was also told that any member of the society could speak under the public comment section of the meeting. This could also be done at the TC meeting of April 28th, again, but only under public comment section of the meeting. To clarify, even though the Cranbury Historical and Preservation Society is not a township department, it is definitely a township entity and should be able to have a discussion with the Township Committee, not just comment at a meeting. Before you were all residents of Cranbury, the society, starting in 1972, began and continues with historic preservation efforts. These include the establishment of the State and National Historic District, which has been the cornerstone of keeping our town the way we have it now. We have assisted in preserving almost 4,000 acres of farmland. We have fought against allowing the Round 1 Mount Laurel decision in court, which would have allowed 1,000 new homes to be built in Cranbury when only 800 homes existed at the time. We have assisted in creating the Historic Preservation Advisory Committee, now the HPC. We have preserved or assisted in preserving the following buildings: the museum on East Park Place.
Mark, would you like someone to continue reading on your behalf? I don't want you to cut off what you're about to say, but
Well, I have 1 minute left. If you want me to leave it for someone else, that's fine.
if they can continue it right where you left off so that we could stick in fairness to anybody else who wants to make a public comment. I don't want to cut off what you're saying, but if someone else could come up, sign in, and they can continue it.
Okay. Start right on this page. Right at the top of the page.
I just need your name, that's all.
Yep.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that.
Hi, Jean Golisano, Prospect Street. On behalf of the Cranbury Historical and Preservation Society, I'll continue for Mark. We have preserved or assisted in preserving the following buildings: the museum on East Park Place, the old school, now the township offices, the Gristmiller's house, which was the former police station on South Main Street, the Hess Farm Stand, the house and barn on Prospect Plains Road, which is owned by a private developer, the Holland House adjacent Cranbury Station Road, which is owned by a private developer, the Parsonage Barn, Corn Crib, and Wagon House in the Barn Park on Cranberry Neck Road, the 1713 East Jersey Cottage on Old Trenton Road. Most, if not all, of the listed preservation issues were done in cooperation with the Township Committee by working together in meetings and discussions between the TC and the Society. By not allowing the Society to discuss, but just to comment, is showing disrespect for the Society as well as doing a disservice to the town. We ask the Township Committee to respect the efforts of the Society in preserving and maintaining our beloved historic Cranberry and allowing us to take part in discussions regarding Dancer House. Sincerely, Mark, on behalf of the Commission.
Is there anything else you would like to say?
Just that I would encourage the Township Committee to work with the Historical Society. We have a lot of volunteers that put in a lot of hours. The Township is important to us, the preservation is important to us, and the Dancer Barkley property is very important.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, Steve Golisano, Prospect Street. Thank you, Madam Mayor, committee members, and township officials, and the public. I grew up in Cranbury. I'm a registered architect that has worked on many historic homes in Cranbury. I'm a current CHPS trustee and a former 5-year member of the HPC, being vice chair for 2 years and chair for one of those years. I was surprised to hear that the Township Committee is entertaining a working session about the demolition of this historic home. This is a state, county registered historic home that is locally protected and in perpetuity via a historic preservation easement in the deed. This document is fully disclosed to any new buyers who purchase the property and is very clear to give the TC and HPC ironclad legal authority to deny demolition and enforce the deed language regardless of the cost of repairs and hardship to the owners. There is a state historic preservation office determination of eligibility for historic significance for this property. The town should have that information on file or request it from the state historic preservation office, state agricultural development committee, or Middlesex County agricultural development board. State HPO experts should also advise HPC, and the TC and other experts should be involved in the working session on April 28th, if possible. While this building has cosmetic issues, it is completely intact and structurally sound. It is not structurally deficient, and I would strongly question any report saying otherwise, especially if it is not done by a firm familiar with historic homes and the standards required in the deed. I'm here to encourage all of you to stay laser focused on your powerful role as Township Committee members, to fully consult with the HPC and other subject matter experts to enforce the historic preservation easement and reject any proposal to demolish this building. Please also become more familiar with the language of the deed and act within your legal capacity to enforce preservation, as well as township maintenance ordinances. It would be a shame and incredibly ironic to have just installed a historic Cranberry welcome sign in front of this house, only to not save the historic house behind it. It's visible behind it, when it is completely within your power to save it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Neil Wagman, 8 Sims Court in Cranbury.
Sign it.
Oh,
Could you
did
sign
you
it?
just sign in?
Yeah.
Thank you. It's helpful when I do the minutes. Thank you.
Sorry, I didn't notice.
Thank you.
Okay. I'm a relatively newcomer to Cranbury, And I've just visited this lovely, historic, and well-preserved town just 35 years ago for the first time. Even a newcomer could immediately see that this was no ordinary New Jersey town. The more I learned about the preservation efforts that have been made by a hardworking group of volunteers, the more I realized that in order to make this town the lovely place that it is, a lot of cooperation and hours of hard work have taken place, especially between the Township Committee and the Cranbury Historical and Preservation Society and the volunteers from the community. I'm here tonight to support the efforts of CHIPS, which has done an amazing job and deserves our thanks. I'm surprised by the Township Committee that will spend a significant portion of their meetings in deep discussion about trivial items, where to place chess tables in parks, but not will allow the discussion or consideration of the preservation of the historic Dancer Home on Plainsboro Road. I would like to thank Mark Burkowski and CHIPS, and also request that you take the request for action on this historical home seriously. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hi, my name is Kathy Janney, and I'm here to support what Mark has said and read, and Jean continued, and what Stephen has said, and also what was last said. I think you all realize the importance of this issue, and I fully expect that you will address it competently, and considering the town we live in, our very beautiful and historic town, and the commitment that you have made previously for this property. And I also want to thank you for the comments that you made about public comments. And I think in reviewing Robert's Rules of Order, that it is optional to say some factual words about whatever comments have been made, and perhaps some other words, which you did last time I was here. And I think that's optional based on Robert's Rules of Order. And while it is not necessarily the thing to get into a full discussion, but hopefully for future purposes in our organization of the Cranbury Historical and Preservation Society, we will be allowed to speak as an entity and have a full discussion for the issues that both the town and the Historical Society might wish to address together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Linda Schilling, Station Road, and I am also here to support what Mark, Steve, and Jean read about this house. And I just wanted to add, my house was built at a similar time. I'm in the edge of the historic, not really the historic district, but right outside it. I'm required to maintain my house, and even if repairs are more expensive than if I went the cheap way, and I think they should be required. They have a deed restriction and should be required to maintain their house. My house is very similar to that house. They were built around the same time, and I really would hate to see that demolished. So please listen to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
My name is Peggy Brennan. I probably have lived in this town longer, my family has, than anybody here. I think we have to preserve this house. And I don't think I need to remind people of that. There are things that need to be done in this town regarding that. And the township committee, if that's the one that needs to do it, needs to do it.
Is there any further public comment? Yes. Okay. Bobby.
Bobby Marlowe, 11 North Main Street.
Can you sign
see.
it, Bobby, real
I'm
quick?
sorry. Oh, yes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't know if I don't think any of you were around at the time that this property was purchased by the township. I was on the Township Preservation Committee at the time, so I remember that this property was purchased for the specific reason of putting it in preserved farmland. Not only that, but the Township Committee worked with the Preservation Commission to put language in the deed that specified that the house was to be maintained. It was not to be demolished. It was not to be ignored and fall into disrepair. It was specifically meant to be preserved. And I think that the Township Committee owes it to the town to follow up on that and see that that happens. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other for a comment? Okay. I'd like to make 2 comments on this topic and provide some advice. That I think is the best way for me to put it. The first is that Committeeman Rob, Christopher, and I would like to have a meeting with CHIPS so we can kind of sit down and see from your lens how you can educate us and maybe help prepare us for this working session that's going to happen on April 28th. So we'd like to ask for a meeting, him as your liaison indirectly, and also the liaison with HPC and a former liaison with HPC feel that that's appropriate to do. So we'd like to do that. The second thing that I would like to just give some advice on is HPC is intricately involved in this working session and are actively working to prepare themselves for this upcoming meeting. I would advise that CHIPS work directly with HPC so that those voices are joined. So when that working session happens, all of that has been incorporated into that working session. You still have the opportunity as residents of this town to comment in public comment. But if it's specifically for that CHIPS lens to be included, it should go through the HPC, because that's what we're leaning on them to help us in an advisory role for that very reason. And that meeting is not to determine demolishing a property. That meeting is to review a deed restriction on a property. So I just want to make that clear that it is not to determine. We are being asked, which is the property's right, to come before and ask us to remove that deed restriction. And that's what is our responsibility to do. So that's all I'm going to say about it. But just to give you some feedback for spending and coming out and taking your time to make a public comment, I wanted to address it that way. If anybody else on the TC wants to add anything, please do. But I felt that needed to be said.
I think you said it very well. Thank you for clarifying those points, and we look forward to doing our job as well. Yeah, thank you. Okay.
And I look forward to having that meeting.
Okay, seeing no further public comment, we'll close the public comment portion. And then we are going to, I need a, oh yeah, is there any action items?
I did not pick up any action items. Anybody else?
Well, we will schedule our
Setting up
meeting. We will schedule our meeting. Okay. No action will be taken after, we will go into a
Just
closed
adjournment.
session. Just adjournment will be taken after that. So I need a motion to move into a closed session.
Motion is-
Motion to move the close.
Second?
Second.
Okay.
I'll do roll call. Mr. Christopher,
Yes.
Mrs. El-Badawi,
Yes.
Dr. Rogers,
Yes, Jean, oh
Mr.
yeah, you
Scott is
didn't sign.
absent, and Mayor Knierim.
Yes.
It's unanimous.